Hello there. Hello.
Okay, sorry.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello? All right. Sorry, yes, I can.
Awesome. Is it
All right.
Woden Toad or is it Bowden Code?
It is Woden Toad.
Because
It is Woden Toad.
the call screen
I think it's
thing
because
says
I've got a little bit of
go on.
robots hate me.
Yeah. It says it really says Bowden Code, and I was like, that's got to be Woden Toad.
You don't have a voice like mine and have robots understand you unless the robots are built for children.
So it says here that you have, I think it's trying to say 2 ghost stories, but it actually says 2 go stories.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
It does not like me.
Awesome. In that case, tell us all about it. What happened?
All right. The first one was when I was a little girl. I was about maybe 8. We had gone to this little, it's this little town where it was like a reenactment town, which is constantly doing things. Oh crap! I can't even remember the name of the town now, but it's a little spot in the back hills of Tennessee, and where they have original buildings and everybody dresses up and they pretty much stay in character while they're there. It's pretty fun. Well, it's boring if you're 8 years old, but it's fun if you're an adult. And so while we were walking, me, my dad, and my sister, we were walking down the road, and we turned and we saw this old woman in a long dress, not like any of the reenactors, but in an old dress, who was peering out from some curtains, some lacy curtains. And it was as if when she saw us, she didn't want to be seen, so she just kind of pulled away. And we came to find out that, and we thought, well, maybe it was just one of the workers that was upstairs, but there were no stairs to that building. They had been removed because they were dangerous. And the woman who had lived in that house she had been engaged to be married and had died waiting for her husband, who went to war and never came home. That's the first one. The second one is much shorter.
Okay.
I used to live on a Civil War battleground, and in this crappy little apartment that was also in a flood zone, which sucked. So every time it stormed, we would see soldiers. And one time, the storm was really, really bad, and while I was coming down the road, I saw men in full Civil War soldiery get-up run towards me and jump into the neighbor's house. And that's the shorter one.
What? So many questions. How many? So when you saw the soldiers, how like 3, 50, 100, 1,000?
Usually it was 1, maybe 2 at a time that you would see very clearly. But it was in Middle Tennessee, which was really flat, so you try not to go out in storms because the wind can really pick up. It's a tornado zone, so you try not to go out in storms too much. Not because of the soldiers, but because of the tornadoes.
And one ran towards you. How far was it before they jumped? Then how close did you get?
I'd say maybe 10 meters.
Okay.
Maybe.
And did you hear?
So it wasn't.
Was there a noise?
I didn't hear anything.
Okay.
I just saw it. Just the guy ran up and then dove. I don't know if he looked anywhere. I wasn't really paying that close attention. I was more shocked by man with gun running towards me, and then kind of slowly processed that man with gun running towards me was also wearing, now, when I say Civil War getup, you usually think of like the dressed up uniforms, but those were very uncommon among the soldiery. What he was dressed up in is whatever he could get his hands on, with the belts across and holding his powder and all that. And that's what he was dressed in.
And so if you got the powder on the belt, was it like a musket then with a bayonet on the end, or just a musket?
Bayonet, yeah. It's a musket with a bayonet.
And no noise at all. Just this almost.
It was also storming at the time, like heavy thunder. Like every second was more thunder overhead.
Okay. And how do you sit? Where do you stand on ghosts and things? Are they? Is this something you just saw? Is it actually a ghost? A ghost kind of real?
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to ghost stories, that's not the only two I have. UFO stories, nope, not a single one. But when it comes to things like ghosts and fairy lights and strange happenings around a house, things moving, that I've got stories. I have several more I can tell you.
And so is that, so you believe that they're a real thing, ghosts are a real thing, just to kind of frame it for everybody else?
Okay. As everyone knows, I am very much a skeptic about all things. I believe that there are explanations for what I believe I have seen, because the brain is a tricky thing. And being neuroatypical, it's probably true that a confluence of random events and my brain has filled it in with other information that I already have.
Okay.
So, for instance, I knew I lived on a Civil War battleground. I knew that it was, storm with crackly lightning going everywhere, reflecting off glass. I could have seen, a reflection off of a reflection that looked like a guy. It's one of those things. And if I've got a minute, I could tell you another weird happening. And this one, to this day, my husband and I cannot explain.
Oh, you can't drop a breadcrumb like that and expect us not to take you up on it. Go for it. As much time as you want, go for it.
All right. So back in the day, I used to play with the pagans. And we would go on these camps called gathers. And, it's camping, it's music, it's rituals and workshops. It's a whole lot of fun. It's really great. I would do it as an atheist any day of the week. But we used to go to this one that was maybe about 400 miles away. So, of course, it's a long car trip back. One time, we were exhausted, and we'd gotten in the car, and my husband had asked me to drive, which he never did. And we were in this, in our, beat-up old used car, where this little internal part had lost its attachment bit and kept falling down on us. And, you could kind of pop it up and it would stay there for a little while, and then it would fall down like maybe a minute, 10 minutes later. So we were exhausted. I was driving. The thing popped down. My husband, who was out of his head exhausted, already asleep, which he doesn't do when I drive because I'm a woman and my driving scares him. But he just kind of glared at it, growled, whacked it, it clicked, and then it never fell down again until we'd had the car had been totaled in an accident. Not in just a little fender bender, but it was enough to total the car. And as we drove off in our rental car, it popped down in our rearview mirror. To this day, we cannot explain it. And no, Tony, I don't do any kind of anything at all. I have enough problems in my brain.
So we wouldn't find you with Boomer experimenting with pharmaceuticals, quality control.
Well, I am a pot baby, which has, got its own side effects, lifelong side effects. For one thing, I cannot smell weed, cannot smell it at all. And for another, I tend to avoid anything that has a psychoreactive effect, if at all possible. So I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any kind of drugs.
Good, healthy living person.
I'm the cheap date and the designated driver.
Oh no, that's no fun. I've been Des a few times. It's no fun, especially with a car load of drunks.
I thought it's a lot of fun. You get free coffee or sodas at a lot of places. It's nice to be the designated driver.
So
except caffeine. I'm a caffeine addict.
Oh, that's to be expected. Well, you got to have some vices, surely.
Of course, that's it.
So this thing in your car then that fell down.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that stuck in your head so much? Is that were you particularly attached to the car or anything like that? Is it just this random thing that it just fell down? It was the moment in time where we were both out of our heads, exhausted. Now, the little piece that was supposed to hold it was gone. There was no finding it, like he found it and then stuck it in. No, it was gone. It was not going to stay up. Surely not going to stay up for 2 more years. And it just stuck in my head that he just kind of growled, reached up, whacked it as we always did, and then it stayed the whole time. We just kept watching for when it would come down again, and it never did. Oh dear.
Like I said, I'm a skeptic. Confluence of events, it may have just stuck just the right way, but, there are more things than we can explain.
Absolutely. And I'm well, you've seen my stuff. I am a complete skeptic and somewhat cynical sometimes, as some flat earthers have found out. But yes, that's why I wanted to do this, because I don't believe in ghosts and ghouls and monsters and things like that. I could go with Bigfoot. I could go with aliens. But there are a lot of people that do. And so if I'm missing something, I want to know. I just want to know about it.
Well, it's not, like I said, I'm absolutely a pure skeptic when it comes to the unexplainable. But as a skeptic, I also know that there are a lot of things that are still unexplainable. There are things that science just can't grasp yet. There may be something beyond, or there may be some trick of the brain that causes it in some way.
Yes, and that's where I'm at. That's more or less where I'm at. I'm not going to write anything off. But if somebody wants to call and tell me that they're like Geo Sam, I love hearing about stuff like that. And
Geo Sam went at it from a skeptical point of view as well, and didn't immediately jump to aliens, and I like that too. It's good. I'm enjoying this so far. Thank you so much for calling in. Is there anything you want to tell us?
Oh,
is anything we need to know, anything you want to shill out?
Well, the only thing I have to show is my dragons. They're always linked from my YouTube channel or my Twitter.
And you can post.
Oh, and I have a new Twitter. I have a personal Twitter, which is Woden Toad, which is where I do all my spicy political stuff. And then if you just want to see crafts and family and not spicy stuff, I have Woden Toad Crafts, which is where I post all my craft stuff now.
Awesome. I'm just seeing if you've got a wrench. I think you've got a wrench. You have. If you want to throw those links into the chat, just go ahead and do it. You've got a wrench. That's what it's for. And I can see Mippet shilling you out, your channel out as well. Awesome. And the dragons. Oh, thank you, Mippet. You're wonderful. Woden Toad, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for calling in, and hopefully I get to talk to you again sometime.
Oh, sure. I've got other stories to tell you.
Awesome. I'll tell you what. Let call in another day, and we'll talk more.
I will.
Awesomeness. Thank you so much. Take care. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.